hopefully I can give him a bit more detail and as to you know, the work that we're doing and what we are supporting. Before I come to that, just a quick note, because the Honourable Lady for Chipping Barnett also raised the point of the persecution of Christians, which again I know is another important topic. And just to, you know, to reassure her that we've made clear to the Nigerian authorities at the highest levels the importance of protecting civilians, including Christians, and human rights for all Nigerians. But I now come on to SARS and the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Mr Gray, the UK supports police and justice reform in Nigeria. All assistance is compliant with our human rights obligations and our values. And through our CSSF-funded Nigeria policing programme, which ended in March 2020, Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squads, or FSARS, officers participated in training on amended Nigerian police guidance designed to improve human rights, training on public finance and community policing workshops. The Nigeria Policing Programme was part of our Security and Justice Reform Programme, which is working to help deliver a criminal justice system that better protects the human rights of all Nigerians.
In July of this year, the Secretary of State for Foreign Commonwealth and Developmental Affairs introduced the Global Human Rights Sanctions Regulations. Under this statutory framework, priority themes relate to cases that threaten media freedom and human rights defenders. Furthermore, another priority theme considers cases where the relevant jurisdiction law enforcement authorities have been unable or unwilling to hold those responsible for human rights violations or abuses to account. The government clearly have the tools to ensure that Nigerian state officials respect the constitutional and fundamental human rights to protest and free speech.
We need to call out the corruption. We need to use the powers that we have in this country to stop those who are profiting from the wealth of that great nation and hiding it here. Now, some people will remember when General Gowon left Nigeria with half the central bank, so it is said, and moved to London. We know that today, even now, in this great city of ours, there are, sadly, some people who have taken from the Nigerian people and hidden their ill-gotten gains here.
The least we should do is to make sure that those who have murdered Nigerians and deprived them of their human rights aren't able to benefit from trade or travel to the UK. In my view, that should include the leaders of the government and the military who are now, even now, refusing to allow transparent and fair investigations to happen and for justice to be implemented.
It is the civilians who pay the price, while the regime itself becomes more entrenched and less open to change. But the UK government can use the sanctions under the global human rights regime, which targets individuals involved in human rights violations and abuses. So, if the UK's position is a global force of good, then I ask the UK government to add the names of the Nigerian government and the security services to the designated list of those responsible for the worst human rights abuses. As I come to a close, it is time for the UK to change course and stand in solidarity with those fighting for a new Nigeria. Let's stand together. Let's get rid of corruption, extortion, extrajudicial murders and massacres, because it's time for a new Nigeria.
I very much hope that we also take away from this debate the optimism that I think everyone showed about the future for Nigeria. It has so much potential. As the Honourable Member for Edmonton says, you know, there's real potential for a new Nigeria, a better future. And I hope that these protests do signal a real change towards addressing those concerns around corruption, around brutality, around poor governance. Because if those issues are resolved, if we see real progress on that, we can see huge success and flourishing in Nigeria, not least in economic terms. So it's been my privilege to lead this debate. I thank all the people who signed the e-petition. I think this is a great example of the e-petition process working really effectively.